Today, we're looking at Diamine's Hope Pink. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, as it would sound, Diamine's Hope Pink is a pink ink, and a bright pink ink at that. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I put the ink into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a Levenger TrueWriter with a broad nib to take my notes for this video. Now, before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. Up first is the chromatography, and I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water, and we see this is truly a pink ink. It is not a composite of other colors. We see that pink work its way up, and that line shows where the water went beyond the ink. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water, and it basically looks the same, which makes me feel that there's going to be very little resistance, hold on, or anything with this particular ink. Now, resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it might be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it for the most part does very well, but the lower H, the lowercase h, definitely it bloomed out all over the place. It got ugly. That's the part that would make me not want to use this in any kind of a note-taking situation. Water reactivated and lifted a bunch of the ink, but not all of the ink. But more important, look at the bottom of what's going on where the water was. It looked like it moved a lot of it around. The bottom part is the lightest part of this ink. So what we're seeing is water lifts a lot. Strangely, it lifts more than the pen flush did. The pen flush lifted a lot of the ink off, but left a lot of it behind. It's very noticeable. It really just looks like it's some shading that the ink has, and it's not. If you look at the line around, you see where it was lifted. I feel like water did more than the pen flush. It just makes me say that water given a little bit more time would get this ink out of the pen without any problem. Bleach, as you would expect, completely obliterates this ink, taking it entirely off the page. Please don't use bleach to get this out of your pen. For the inks I've tested, I've found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Diamine's Hope Pink has a viscosity of 2.55, making it almost exactly average, slightly higher. Now, to find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper in my writing samples. I think I said writing samples twice. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Diamine's Hope Pink has an average dry time of 6 seconds. Holy moly, fast. Good things for students. Now, let's look at the writing samples. I picked this ink up in sample form, and to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. So these were the best of I used my standard 3, and these are the best of the writing samples I could come up with. And I had to do a lot because, yeah, the color looks nice, but it just... I had to do a lot of writing samples with this one because it shows more on camera. This is, like, hard to read in that it's painful on the eyes. It's not that it's not dark enough. It's sort of just painful to look at too much. Clairefontaine, no bleed, no ghosting. That's not a 1.1. I messed up and didn't do the 1.1 at the top. The extra fine, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. It does offer some shading throughout. It's just that it's largely like a very light pink and then has some darker, more vibrant. With the dark comes the vibrant, which is nice. When it's dark, it's nice. I wrote my notes using a Levenger TrueWriter, and it looks much better with a broad, wet nib. It was just so tough through the writing samples. The extra fine, it does offer some shading. It's nice shading that's there. It looks better where it's dark. It took 4 seconds to dry. The medium had no feather, spread, halo, sheen. It offered the same shading that we got with the extra fine, but the tone itself is light enough that it was a problem. It hurts to read as I'm reading through all the samples to try and find the best writing samples. It makes my eyes ache some. 6 seconds to dry, not because it's pink. The scrubby of the extra fine showed plenty of color variation. We did get plenty of color variation. The smear test, you could likely recover it if you smeared it. So, Tomoe River. No bleeding, no ghosting. That's right, no ghosting. Because it's such a light ink, Tomoe River doesn't even ghost this ink. That is the 1.1. It has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. It has no shading whatsoever. The extra fine had no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 6 seconds to dry, super fast on this paper. Medium, no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 10 seconds to dry. The tone of these are all exactly the same, so there's a very consistent thing. The scrubby shows more color variation than we got here. We got none up here. We got color variation down here. And the smear test, you can't recover it. Rhodia. Rhodia had no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 had no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. It did offer some very nice shading. When it's darker, it's nice to look at. When it's lighter, it hurts. The bottom of Hope is dark. The top is light. Pink starts light and gets darker. It's nice up there. The extra fine, it gets a little bit lighter as a tone. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. It does offer little bits of shading throughout. Again, it's such a light ink that when it shades, it's nice because then there's a spot that doesn't hurt your eyes. Dry gets darker in the middle. Jumps gets darker at the P into the S. The X of Fox is darker. The Z in lazy is darker. It's nice there. The rest I don't care for. 3 seconds to dry. Medium. Slightly darker tone, back to the 1.1 tone. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. Yes, we do get the same shading that we got with the extra fine. The is a noticeably darker word than over. Lazy starts light, gets dark at the A, stays dark in the Z, becomes lighter in the Y. It's very nice there. Brown starts dark, gets light, gets dark again. 5 seconds to dry. The scrubby of the extra fine and the medium show us color variation. We did get color variation up here. And the smear test says you could likely recover this. So Mnemosyne. Let's take a look at some other papers, some nice papers. Let's really try and see this perform well. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 had no feather, spread, halo, sheen. It has lovely shading throughout it. It's really very nice. I just wish the color was nicer to work with. The extra fine had no feather, spread, halo, sheen. It offered great shading throughout. Again, my hang-up is the tone of this particular pink. Quick starts very light, starts and works its way gradually darker. It's great. Brown starts dark, gets light, gets dark again. Fox starts starts dark, gets light, gets very dark at the X. 3 seconds to dry. Same exact tone with the medium. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. The same great shading all over this ink. Just a painful color. 5 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show us plenty of color variation. We got plenty of color variation. The smear test, I don't know that you could recover it. So Apica. This is an Apica CD notebook. We had no bleeding except in a scrubby where I put it on stupid thick and you see it follows the line. So that's me scratching it into the page like an animal. No ghosting. The 1.1 had no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. It had nice shading throughout. Really nice shading. This is the nicest it looks as a tone and with its shade. Gorgeous. But this is not actually a white paper. It's a light cream color. I think the light cream color makes this look good, where otherwise I haven't cared for the tone. The extra fine, the tone still looks pleasing to the eye. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. Yes, we get beautiful shading all over. I like how this ink looks on this paper. This cream tone, beautiful. What it's done to the tone of this ink. Otherwise, I just didn't like it. But here I like it. 3 seconds to dry for the extra fine. The medium, same tone, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. Beautiful shading all over this writing. Beautiful.
And it's a nice tone, and then it gets darker in plenty of spots, like quick, starts dark, gets light, gets dark again. The is a nice dark word. Lazy is nice and light. Fox starts light and gets dark. Beautiful to look at. 5 seconds to dry. The scrubby shows us tons of color variation. We got tons of color variation. The smear test, I still don't think you could recover it. So, Fabriano, Echo Qua. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, and no shade. We lost the shade here. Back to a tone that I don't care for this pink. Extra fine had no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade at all in that writing, and it took 3 seconds to dry. Now the medium had no feather, spread, halo, sheen, and it also had no shading. It only took 4 seconds to dry, so when it's very fast, it sucks into that page real fast like a sponge. So the shading doesn't really have the time to show. Now the extra fine and the medium scrubby show more color variation. We didn't get any up here. The extra fine shows quite a bit. The medium shows a little. Just means it's possible. We're just not getting it. The smear test, I don't think you could recover this if you smeared while you were writing. And that is all that I have for the writing sample.
Instead of finding inks that look like Diamine's Hope Pink, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I've chosen Birmingham Pen Company's Frick Park Fern Creek because it's this kind of green-blue color, and we needed something darker, and that dusty tones that they tend to give really go nice with this particular pink. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Diamine's Hope Pink? In a fine nib, it's hard to read. It's painful on your eyes, not because it's a pink, because at that point it is very light. So while it's a nice color, make sure you're using it in a broader, wetter pen so that you can put more of it down and see this color for the beauty that it can have on the paper. It's a great contrasting color to use with a lot of different inks. Thanks for watching.